Welcome to Unhinged Magi! Oh, there we go. We're getting in sync there.
Yeah, we are. That? Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Good energy, too.
There is good energy.
Yes.
There's good energy! Okay, guys.
That's because of all the Red Bull we drank.
Yeah. Woo! Okay, guys. So we have a fun video for you today. What we're going to talk about is an interesting subject that I'm probably going to get a lot of mixed feelings about. Some people might love it. Some people might hate it. You probably already saw it in the title. You cheaters. Did you only click this because you like the title?
Did they like the title? Did you like the title?
They must have liked the title. They clicked the video. Oh. Okay. Anyways.
Well, there you go.
Surprise is out.
So let's just leave.
Okay. So this video is going to be about
tigers. No, I'm just kidding.
What would happen if Wizards of the Coast was going to do something really weird and take like their current budget for R&D, development, testing, and multiply it by like 10 times. I mean, let's say these guys, they go overboard to really just refine out a set of Magic the Gathering. And this is for a specific purpose. I'm sure you guys have noticed that a lot of the Magic sets over the years, like you buy a box and like 95% of the cards in the box are just garbage. You effectively buy a box and you only really want a couple cards. Maybe some of them you get, some you don't. Maybe there's a common or so or uncommon that's decently playable. But a large majority of the box is just crap and you're never going to put it inside of a deck and you're never going to play it outside of like a draft or a cube or something like that. It's like, forget it, right? Well, I think that's a problem. In fact, I actually think it's more than a problem. I actually think it's bad design, right? When you go to a standard tournament format and that format is represented by like 5% of the cards in the net pool, I think that a developer screwed up, honestly. So
we're blaming you, Mark Rosewater.
Yeah, this is right to you, Mark Rosewater. Or you could take this as positive and say, maybe this is what I should be doing with it.
Exactly.
So the idea here is that Wizards expands Rosewater's budget.
Boom.
And really lets his team just sink their teeth in and make this next set that I'm going to suggest a really well-oiled machine that's very highly tuned and refined. And the idea here is that what if they made a set where like every card in the set was literally useful? Like every card had a deck or a place or something it could go into. None of them were garbage. And every one of them to some degree not only like could go in a deck, but like you wanted them to. You actually wanted to explore everything. And all these different strategies actually had some real merit. Now, the idea goes past that. Not only is this one set really good unto itself, but the idea here is that there's going to be like maybe 3 sets. So it's kind of like a block kind of design. And the 3 sets are all going to only work with each other. They're not standard legal. They're not vintage legal. It's kind of like a little self-contained universe. And you were saying that like there was some negative sides of that.
There are. So if you can't play these cards outside of it, then as a Magic player, I won't be able to use any of these cards in Modern, and I won't use it in Commander, won't be able to use it in EDH, I won't be able to use it anywhere. And that's kind of a bothersome because it's kind of a hole. If this set, and I put my money into it, nobody likes, which shouldn't happen because it's R&D research, like times 10. But let's say if it tanks, then I just put my money inside what? Garbage Pail Kids.
Yep, dead weight. But here's the idea. Here's the beauty of it. There is, if you're a developer for a game or something like that, especially a game like Magic, one major restriction that you've got is when you design a card, you have to keep in your mind all of the other cards that have ever been made. Because if you design something and there exists some other card in a previous set that puts together some kind of infinite or broken game-ruining combo, well, you've created a problem and now there's going to have to be a banning or a change. And that's like, it's frustrating to people. It's irritating. It causes loss of money. Just nothing good comes from bannings.
And what happens right now? Lots and lots of bans. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, so the thing is, you do in fact have the negative side of like this set that I'm talking about. is not, it's literally not intended to be in the other formats. Now, nobody can stop you from doing whatever you want. If you really wanted to, of course, you could buy this set and you could play it with others. But what I'm talking about is the intentional design of the set is allowing the game developers, after like their 27 years of card design experience now, give them the freedom to have a self-contained set that only has to exist unto itself. So they don't have to worry about everything else that's ever been done before. They can just focus on that, right? And inside of that nice little sandbox playground, give them the express goal that have a lot of cards, have like 300 cards, 400 cards in this base set, but have them actually have a target of every card being good, every card being useful. Try to make sure that that format has every main traditional archetype represented, right? You've got your mill and your tutor, your aggression, your burn, all those, right? Now, so that base set comes out, needs to be playable unto itself, and then the next two expansions will indeed expand that card pool. But at the end, all you've got for those sets is those 3 sets. Now, again, you can play those cards elsewhere if you want to. You players can do whatever you want, but don't blame the game developers if something broken happens, because the idea is that they're contained together. Now, when Wizards of the Coast does this, their budget for R&D is going to go up quite a bit. So what I'm suggesting for this set is when Wizards increases the budget for R&D, you also increase the retail price of what the set actually costs. So we're talking like Modern Masters, Ultimate Masters kind of price, right? Go ahead and let them make more profit because they need to be compensated for the work they're actually doing. But you're not just buying cheap cardboard. You're buying something that really got tuned. I mean, we're talking like a high-end car that's extremely reliable, fun to drive, looks good.
Ferrari set.
It's the real package, everything in one, right? That's the idea here.
I do see another problem. What happens after the 3 sets are done? When the 3 sets are done, WotC can abandon it.
They could.
So, what's to keep the format going?
Now, that's a great question.
I mean, what happens if they just go ahead and say, well, okay, we're going to make another block, and now you can ignore this one?
So there's a difference I'd like to separate out. There's WotC abandoning it, which just basically means they're not going to host formats for it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that players won't host formats for it. And what I'd like to remind everybody of is, like, take normal games like poker, like blackjack, hearts, right? Gin rummy. There's all these like card games, and you know what? They've had the same 52 cards for an awful long time. There's not a lot of diversity in there of like cards and like how what they do and such like that. Not a lot of game pieces. But yet it's remained for years. And why? Well, because there's all these different ways you can play it. The cards themselves have like a balance and an architecture to them. And so the fun that you get from gaming doesn't always need to be in just the cards. It can be in the interaction of the cards. It can be in the social dynamic. It can be in the bluffing and the reading. There's all these other things that can come into it. I think if a Magic set came out that was designed well enough, so in the base set, you had like 300 cards, then maybe 250, 300 in each expansion, giving you somewhere around 1,000 cards overall. I think that if those cards were designed well enough, Wizards wouldn't have to support it. I think people could continue playing that little mini format, that little mini universe, and enjoying themselves for years.
Well, I do believe that if R&D actually gets a hold of it and gets that financial boost, that they can create a design that kind of tier 1 gaming environment. I'm still worried about Wizards of the Coast abandoning it or just kind of eating away at it. Like they've created a bubble and now they're going to create the expansions, right? But then they say, okay, now we're going to open it up to more. And then they kind of come in to get more money. Mm-hmm. Because when a company sees that there's more money to be made, they typically do it.
Yep.
So they may have created this great gaming environment, this three block, closed it off, and then Wizards of the Coast was, maybe we do it again. Yep. Inside that block, and then create another diverse thing, another streamline of what Magic the Gathering is, except it's another vortex. or the multiverse of Magic.
So I would actually think that's going with the theory that I'm offering here. I think that would be perfectly fine, but there's an if. The entire intention from the beginning is that the set was extremely well balanced, and nearly every card, or at least as many cards as possible that were actually in that set, had a reason to be there, were useful in actually playing, right? So if they could figure out how to release expansions into this kind of universe and maintain that extremely high level of game design and playability,
See, I don't think
then that'd
that
be fine. But see, that's it. That's the problem that they come into. And so it would be a very different take on the way that they actually design Magic. But I think it would be fantastic.
It would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the game would be fantastic.
Now, another thing they could actually do with it is in a set like this, you wouldn't even necessarily have to sell it in like booster packs kind of thing. You could sell it like a complete set of game pieces. So like you buy a box and you get 4 of each card or something like that.
Okay, so you're not saying there's going to be like rare, mythic, and that kind of stuff. You could actually just buy game pieces. I
wasn't initially, but like for something like this that's a well-designed game, if it really was all about the game and it's not a collectible, then sure, why not? I mean, what if they made it $1,000? You know, where they charge you $1,000 for this set, so they make a nice, healthy profit margin. Hey, Wizards of the Coast, good for you. You got this set made. You make a lot of money off of it, but they are like well-made game pieces, right? They really do play well together.
Didn't think about that, because then they would have to keep it a closed set. Mm-hmm. Because now it's literally unlimited, unlike unlimited.
Yeah, because you could sell it like, I mean, how many years have they been selling Monopoly or something like that, right?
And then I could actually shuffle my cards and not worry about sleeves. I can just buy another set.
Yeah, and there would be no concept of rarity and everything too.
Which would be fantastic. I wouldn't have to trade with anything. You just get all the pieces.
Yeah.
And it's a Magic the Gathering game.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I think that needs to be explored.
Now, the interesting thing about it is there's all these players today that say Magic is just a game. But first of all, they're wrong. Magic has never been just a game. It's always been a collectible mixed with game. This one that I suggested, if you bought it as like a complete set that's extremely well designed and all the cards are valuable, and like when you buy the package, you get 4 of each card, that actually would be just a game. Because there would be no rarity. There would be no... like.
Some people would just like that.
Yeah. I think there's a market for it, honestly.
Also, it'd probably bring some more people back into actually playing Magic as well.
Yeah.
Because it's more affordable. There's only a limited set of cards to learn.
Exactly.
And if they can make it really diverse, you know, of how many different deck styles there are.
Yep.
That might actually be a winner.
And also, like, in that kind of environment, that's like a cube already made and ready to go, effectively. Like, if you already had these really well-designed cards, you had a very specific amount of them that was very consistent, that's your cube. You could just invite people over, you know, like shuffle them up and like go for it. Or like
shuffle up and deal.
Let people sit there and like maybe you could do like a draft thing where you just lay out all the cards and people each one at a time get to take whatever they want until they've constructed their deck, and then you go. There's so many ways to go about that. But this is exactly like what I'm saying, like with a deck of cards. How many different games exist for that same 52 cards, right? There's only 4 suits, right? There's only like, 13 different cards or whatever. Yeah. So there's really not a lot of different game pieces, but how many games have come out over the years?
True.
Well, if you had this really well-designed set that was really well-designed, and there's like 1,000 different cards in this really well-designed set, and 4 of each copy, so it's like a 4,000 card set that you buy.
Yeah.
How many different games could you build with it?
I think a pretend CEO of Wizards of the Coast, I would definitely approve this.
There you go.
Except I probably...
Wait, where's the hat? Well, you can't approve it without the hat.
The hat's not here right now.
Okay, you don't have the hat.
I can go get it.
You can't approve it without the hat.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so while our CEO goes to get this hat, I want to know what you guys think about this idea. Do you like this kind of thing? Do you think that Wizards of the Coast should be considering that? Should they be looking at making a set that is extremely well designed, extremely well engineered? Everything in it's got a valid reason.
I heard you had a good idea.
You're here today, Mr. CEO.
Yeah, I heard you had a good idea. Let's hear it from the top.
Okay, I'm just going to hit pause and I'm going to rewind and play the video for you really quick. Boop! It did it.
Whoa! That's a great idea. I think we should get on this. Is there any way we can lower the salaries of all the R&D people so we can pretend like it's 10 times?
That sounds like a terrible idea. They're all just going to leave the company. Just raise the price of the set so you guys make a profit margin and you offset it. Pay your people to do the work, but do really good work.
All right, I guess we could do that. Yeah,
okay.
But we'll have to put some of our other set building on hold. That could be a problem.
Would you guys be willing to accept that for something like this?
I want more money because I got to sell boxes. This would sell boxes, though.
I do think this would sell boxes.
I think it would be great. I would definitely probably approve this.
Okay, guys, I want to know what you think. Do you like the idea? Do you think it has merit?
Mark, Rosewater, do you like the idea?
Do you, Mark? Guys, take this video and send it to a Wizards employee that you know. Okay?
That's right.
That's your marching orders. Go.